Hello. Okay, you need to make sure that you have your headphones on. And I need for you to be reading along with me while I read the poem, and then you're going to answer the questions that follow. You can see the directions here. It says to choose an answer once we get to the questions. You're going to highlight, so you'll click and drag to highlight the words you want as your answer, and then click the B up here in the toolbar to make your words bold. I'll kind of show you again in a minute. Anyway, this is a poem about Martin Luther King Jr. Notice your text feature here. You have a picture with a caption. It says, and this is a quote from Martin Luther King Jr. I have a dream that my 4 children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. So basically, your character is, who you are as your personality and how you behave, just like we talk about with character counts and those things with Mrs. Smith. So basically, he's saying he's hoping that his kids will grow up and live in a world where they're judged by what kind of people they are rather than the color of their skin and racism. He was very, very important to helping the rights of all Americans, but especially of Black Americans. So, really important, very, very impactful man. So, I'm going to read this poem that was written by him, written not by him, written about him. It's called Martin Luther King Jr. You faced injustice, hate, and strife. Injustice is when things are not fair. You fought for what should be. You risked and finally gave your life so others could be free. Now, it's important to note that slavery was not in place when Martin Luther King Jr. was around. It had already been abolished a while before. But so when they say so others could be free, they're not saying free from slavery. They're saying free to be treated equally. Next stanza, stanza 2. You could have hated, but you chose to love and understand, rejecting violence to oppose an evil in our land. So he was rejecting violence. He did not believe in violence. But he was against a certain evil in our land, which I don't want to give anything away because that's one of our questions at the bottom. Stanza 3. You'd not inflame, but still inspire with hope that wouldn't yield. You called for boycotts, not for fire, with faith your only shield. Faith, he was a very Christian man, and so that was what he thought of, protected him in life. Boycotts are, and we'll talk about those in history a lot, where you stop buying something or stop using certain products, um, or stop going to a certain place because you don't believe in what they're doing. So he led a lot of peaceful boycotts that would cause companies to lose money because the companies were discriminating or being unfair to people. You marched in protest for the poor of every shade and hue. So many hardships you'd endure for those who needed you. You stirred a nation's heart and mind. Your message still is clear that color's not how we're defined. Your memory's always near. Each year your birth's a holiday. The nation honors you and wonders when we'll see the day your dream at last comes true. And that poem was taken from a website. You can see here, rhlschool.com. All right, so number 1, what is the rhyme scheme of this poem? And we have 4 choices here, so you have to look back and decide, using the ends of the lines, which pattern is used in the rhyme scheme. We have A, B, B, C, A, B, C, B, A, B, A, C, A, B, A, B. You choose the one that you think, and you will highlight it and then hit the bold button to choose it. Now, I'm not saying that A is the answer. I'm just showing you how to choose your answer. Number 2, Martin Luther King Jr. approached changing unjust laws by A, opposing all forces with violence, B, robbing the people who were unjust, C, trying to find a peaceful solution. D, waiting for other people to solve the world's problems. And you can pause this recording if you need to while you choose your answer. Number 3, what was the evil in our land? We have F, violent people. G, unfair treatment of people. H, terrorism. J, high taxes. And since we see that phrase, we probably need to look back in the poem and reread that part. So I'm skimming. Oh, there I see an underlined part. I read the whole stanza. You could have hated, but you chose to love and understand, rejecting violence to oppose an evil in our land. What was that evil in our land? Number 4, what does the word hue mean? A, shape. B, kind. C, unjust. D, color. Again, I'm going to look back to see what do we think hue means in this poem. There it is in this stanza. You marched in protest for the poor of every shade and hue. So many hardships you'd endure for those who needed you. So of every shade and hue. We have A, shape. B, kind. C, unjust. D, color. Number 5, what 3 words would you use to describe Martin Luther King Jr.? Please answer in a complete sentence. So I would use words from the question. So you could phrase it, 3 words I would use to describe Martin Luther King Jr. are, and then finish the sentence. Don't forget to use a capital letter and an ending mark. Number 6, what was Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream? Again, I would like for you to answer that in a complete sentence. And if you remember, we saw something about his dream somewhere up here. Okay. Once you have answered your questions, be sure to turn in your assignment on Google Classroom.